How's it going, guys? Well, welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. Last time we continued our work with what was his name? Crap. It's a really odd one. I think he's the Bloodmancer. We had a lot of interesting interactions with him and kind of trying to help him. He's gonna be trying to decide like where his loyalties are gonna lie and like what he wants to do with himself. So it'll be really interesting. I wonder if there's multiple endings with just his story. We also met somebody in a church, and that was a really interesting experience. And we also tried to meet with an informant, and it didn't go very well. And I've learned that I need to deblood myself a little bit, I think. So let's jump right in and see what else we can do. But it's time for us to rest. You're walking down the street toward your haven. In some other town, the sidewalks would be deserted at a time like this time of night. In New York City, there are plenty of passers-by going about their business. It's easy to be paranoid when you're a vampire surrounded by a crowd of humans. The kindred have many enemies, and all of those enemies have one trait in common. They're invisible, indistinguishable from normal humanity. Other vampires, hunters, all look like people. Is that old man just a tired restaurant worker or kindred thrall-tailing your movements? Are they officers idly waiting in the patrol car, ordinary cops, or Second Inquisition specialists looking to end undead threats? Ooh, Second Inquisition. Often abbreviated as SI. Oh, it's interesting, because SI in... so Second Inquisition, the SI in the Dresden Files is a police organization called Special Investigations. Really interesting that they have a very similar nomenclature. A collective name among vampires for recent coordinated efforts of intelligence agencies to combat the kindred as if they were a terrorist threat. Few individual agents understand what they are fighting, and intra-agents collaboration, codenamed First Light, places enormous import on keeping their operations secret and disguised as ordinary anti-terrorism action. Yeah, that sounds a lot like SI, but like much more developed than it is in Dresden Files, the SI, Special Investigations, is just the cleanup crew. It's kind of like the doghouse for police officers, where they're given all the impossible jobs to explain things that can't be explained. This kind of thinking leads to madness, but you can't shake the feeling that someone's watching you. It's not the first time you felt like this. Following the queue of so many mortals around you, you stop at a street corner and casually survey your surroundings as if you're trying to remember which turn to take. You look around obstinately at street signs, but in reality you to see if someone really is following you. Down the street where you came from, a crowd of young drunk men argue loudly about baseball. There's an indistinct figure standing behind them, almost impossible to notice. A woman, probably. The men unconsciously move around her as they start to walk away, still mouthing off at each other. Whatever this is, it's probably something you have to take care of. Best case, someone is tailing you. Worst case, you'll be attacked and killed. Unfortunately, being undead has its limitations. The sun is coming up soon, and you'll burn to a crisp if you stay on the streets. You reach your haven and settle in for the day, disconcerted by the idea that someone might know where you sleep. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. As you awake from your slumber and you emerge from your haven for the night, you notice a familiar face on the other side of the street, standing on the corner and looking straight at you. It's, Kaiser's lackey whom you've met recently, Jackie. He nods to you, encouraging you to approach, also noting that he knows where we are. He still looks kind of rough after your last brawl, but the damage to his face is clearly mended. He hands out one of his pockets, though. His hands are out of his pockets, though. Sign of goodwill? That's close enough. Let me guess. Kaiser sent you. This is not a social visit. Kaiser sent you. Don't say his name out loud, idiot. He takes a look around just to make sure nobody's listening in on your conversation. Yeah, he sent me. I'm supposed to give you this. He produces a crumpled piece of paper from his jacket pocket and hands it toward you. Read it, memorize it, then give it back here. It's a letter. Paper might just be a page ripped out of a spiral notebook, but the writing on it is exquisitely detailed and deliberated. It reads, "Time to square your debt with me. Go to the wine shop on 232 Mulberry Street and ask for the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Amaro. When they tell you they don't have it, say you are a fedele servitore della famiglia G. Those exact effing words, and you make sure you get the G right. Okay. You'll get a bottle. Just take it, leave by saying grazie. Don't ask how much it is or anything else. Just walk out. When you have it, come back to Jackie Boy here and let him know. You done? Memorize that stuff and hand it over. Didn't think your boss was a letter guy. Didn't peg your boss for the letter kind of guy. Isn't electronic communication his whole shtick? Yeah, well, some things are better done the old-fashioned way. You're done with the letter. You note the phrase and address is mentioned in the letter. Hand it back to Jackie. He immediately reaches for a lighter and burns the letter, putting it out the ashes with his boot. So yeah, when you do what boss asks, come back here so I can tell you where to go next. I'll be in that alley over there. So find me when you have the item, whatever it is. I don't know. The boss made it extra clear that I shouldn't care, so I don't. See you. He shuffles away and leaves you to pursue the lead from the letter. It's time to pay a visit to Nolita. You arrive at the address mentioned in the note. No, not counting local restaurant patrons, the street is mostly empty at this time of night, but curiously the wine shop is still open. Inside, a small middle-aged woman with curly hair stands behind the counter in front of a wall filled with wine bottles. There's a door at the back of the room with a small tab and chair, occupied by a man in black fox leather jacket with slick combed-backed hair. Sounds a lot like my doorbell. He's reading a newspaper, but pauses a little as a little bell rings when you open the door. He takes a sip from a small steaming cup and then gets back to his broadsheet. Good evening. How can I help you? I think we should... I don't know, you're on business. It just seems like being pleasantries would be kind of weird. Saying a friend sent me would be a bad idea, so let's be direct. I'd like a bottle of the 1821 Special Reserve Donatello Negro Romano, please. Let me check our stock. She seems to be looking through the database on the laptop sitting on the counter. She puts on a polite smile. I'm afraid we don't have that one at the moment. Sorry. Recite the phrase straight and simple. Like, no flair, nothing. Just do exactly as I'm told. I'm a fedele servitore della famiglia G. Ah, in that case, let me see if we have any in the back. Wait here, please. The woman leaves the counter and goes through the doors in the back. The man by the table puts down his newspaper and takes another sip from his cup, washing it down with a gulp of water from a nearby glass. He tries to hide it, but there's no doubt he's watching you. About a minute passes. Just remain silent and wait. Like, I don't know, I don't want to be causing any waves. I just want to just get in, get what I'm supposed to get, and get out. You remind yourself of what Kaiser wrote you in the letter and keep quiet, patiently waiting for the woman to return from the back of the store. The man finishes his drink and starts doodling on the newspaper, his eyes darting to you every so often. The door to the back of the store opens, and the proprietor emerges with a small, unlabeled, squat bottle of crimson liquid. She gives you an apologetic smile. Scusi, sorry for taking so long. Turns out we did have it. She offers you the bottle and you reach out to grab it, but she retracts it. You do know what this is, don't you? So why can't I click that? I don't know the difference. It's like... I can't remember what that means. Hang on. I want to, like, what does it mean, the different emblems? Is there a way to, like, check it? I don't know. I don't know if it's in here. I just don't know. Like, I could use my power, presence, which is probably the best option, just to make this quick, clean, and easy. Quit stalling. I'm on a schedule. It's pretty aggressive. Why, it's wine, of course. It's what I want to say, and I don't know why I can't say it. Probably because I have blood and need to feed. You know what? I'm gonna avoid using my power. Just what I said last time. Like, using my power seems to be an easy fix for everything, but I need to step away. Quit stalling. I'm on a schedule. Listen, I don't have time for this. I knew the phrase, right? Just hand it over. She gives her companion a quick look. He's on edge. His knuckles white on his chair, but he's just watching you. Of course. Here. Deciding you pushed your luck far enough, you nod and exit the store, then take a brisk walk to your car. Nobody follows you as you leave. Leave Nolita and drive back to your apartment. takes you some time to find a parking spot, but you finally get out of the car and start looking for Jackie. He's not far from where you parted ways just under 2 hours ago. Got the goods. He looks like, freaking... Plays Sherlock. I should know it's Benedict Cumberbatch. He looks like a really rough Benedict Cumberbatch. Sure do. Cool. Stand by, I gotta make the call. He takes a few more steps in the narrow spaces between two buildings and takes out the same high-tech phone you saw him carry last time. Hey boss, yeah? They have it. Where do I point them? Okay, yeah. I'll tell them to go there right away. He puts the phone back in his pocket and turns back to you. Willets Point, half an hour. So you better step on it. See you around. With only a flippant salute, Jackie starts walking down the street. You make your way back to your car and drive. You had to push the speed limit to make it on time, but you're here. Willets Point is quite a change of scenery. The place is a post-industrial dump, and nearby stadium notwithstanding. Fetch, that looks awful. You stop your car once you realize that you go any further down, the potholes will kill your chassis. You step out into one of those gashes in the asphalt, splashing in ankle-deep water. Kaiser's limo is nowhere to be seen. In fact, the whole place is pretty much deserted, other than the apparent proprietor of a lonely bar, a middle-aged woman who's just locking the place up. Ooh, I can't say no to a feeding opportunity. I need to. This is too perfect an opportunity not to take advantage of. She's walking to her car, ready to call it a night when you sneak up on her. She's far too tired to resist your strong hold and swift bite. You can taste the caffeine in her veins, smell the cheap cigarette in her hair, the old cooking grease in her clothes. She passes out. You assault the closing note of a long day at work. You let her down gently and feel a pang of remorse. You pick up the car keys she dropped and place her in the driver's seat. She'll find an explanation for passing out like this, for sure. The bright lights of the car pulling over down the road illuminate you as you close the door. It's a black limo. Kaiser's finally here, it would seem. And look, I got rid of the blood, so I think I've kind of figured it out. I probably should only use my abilities when I feel like it really is necessary to get through. Same as last time, the car doors open, but nobody comes out. You know the drill. This time, Kaiser is visible when you look inside. You sit down and close the door behind you. So, you pulled it off without a hitch, then? Give it here. You hand the bottle over to the Nosferatu. He uncorks it gently, takes a whiff, and pulls the cork back in. Yep, that's the stuff. Good. I was ready to F you up real bad if you didn't deliver the goods, but I see you're not totally useless. Here's Langley's precious address. He passes you an envelope with what feels like a thick card inside. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Thank you, Mr. Kaiser. Yeah, I'll send Jackie over if I ever need anything else from you. How about that? Time for you to get out now. I can't get the rasp as well as I did last time. He waves you out of the car. With the envelope in your hand, you get out, back into the torn asphalt and into decrepit surroundings. The limo slowly drives away. Finally, you can return to Sophie and bring her what she wanted. Gregory lets you in. You hear a shrill and pleasant laugh as you realize Sophie's having a guest over. He's the man from Elysium, the one with the glasses and good taste in suits. You didn't have the chance to talk to him last time you saw him. A little bit of a space missing there. Ah, Protag, so glad to see you. Tell me, did the two of you previously meet? The man doesn't wait for you to answer. He approaches you with an energetic, almost dance-like step and puts out his hand. Thomas Arturio, I've heard about you. Pleasure. Thomas is a great source of gossip and an excellent conversationalist. I also have the Prince Seer, which is the primary reason dear Miss Langley wishes to speak to me tonight. Good gossip, even coming from me, isn't nearly as valued. Sad. Sophie is taken aback by the man's direct comment, but smiles politely. The awkward atmosphere is broken again by the guest's grating laugh. I kid, of course. I kid. Well, I was about to leave anyway, so I'll leave you two at it. Good night, Sophie. Protag, Greggy boy. Sophie's driver opens the door for Arturo, and the guest steps out with a single wave of the hand towards the host and you. The door closes. He's quite the character, isn't he? Yes, quite, but he has his uses. Thomas has clout in court and access to many juicy details on everyone from the prince to the lowest Primogen. It's useful to have him on your side, even if his eccentricity requires some patience. Speaking of patience, you've been putting mine to the test lately. Did you manage to contact Kaiser and acquire what I asked for? Yes, but I had to do another job for him first. Yes, I have it, but the data you offered him was old news to him. I had to do another job for him before he was willing to give me this. She retrieves the envelope from you. I'm sure he did. I do hope it wasn't too much of an inconvenience. I had to retrieve a bottle for him. He made me go on an entirely separate escapade to retrieve a bottle of wine from a store in Nolita. I had to use a code phrase and whatnot. Wine shop? Code phrase? That degenerate pest. She's visibly agitated, but calms down and smiles at you. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure that whatever Kaiser had you do, it'll blow over. She opens the envelope and looks at the card. You know it's the same lettering you saw in Kaiser's note from before, but you can't see the details. Her eyes widen. Yes, excellent. I need to call in some favors. I will likely be busy for the next few nights. You have my permission to show some initiative, my dear Charge. I will contact you soon. Ooh, sounds spicy. With that, Sophie ushers you outside. You are left to do with the rest of this night's hours as you like. All right, interesting. So now I have some choices. Who is this? Somebody's watching me. Ah, I can confirm the follower. I can move on with the, ooh. I don't have time for everything. I really want to make at least one good friend. And I think I want to continue working with him to make him an ally. I'm really curious about the follower. But I want to keep going on this, honestly. I really do. So I hope the follower, I don't lose the trail of the follower, but I think I just want to keep doing this for now. You're in your haven when someone knocks on your front door. Puzzled, you open it. Agathon stands in the hallway expectantly, as if 10 seconds took you to come to the door is an impossible imposition. You need my help? Let me guess, you're going out to hunt for the research notes and you need my help. Yes, exactly. Let's go. You follow Agathon down the street, wondering what kind of revelations tonight will hold. So far, Agathon's rituals have been successful at locating the research notes, but you've learned a lot about the Tremere, and Agathon himself, or the Tremere. Yeah, because in French you drop the last vowel, right? Tremere. That sounds right. This time I've got it. The problem is, when an old vampire disappears, even from our clan, we're so secretive that it's hard for us to find out what they were up to. Agathon's car is parked at the curb. You get in and Agathon starts to drive. You may have guessed that the notes we're looking for belong to an old member of our house. The problem is that when we need them to continue her research. Why does Juno need the notes? That's actually the really important question. Why does Juno want to do with these notes? Is she going into research? Thirsty. Agathon looks at you uncertainly before returning his eyes to the road ahead. I don't know, but I can guess. You wait for him to continue, but he doesn't seem inclined to do so. You're getting used to sitting in Agathon's car in silence. He drives, you look out the window, back to Queens. Eventually, you roll up to an industrial area called Willets Point. Wow, like we were just there. It doesn't really look like a place where a blood sorcerer would hang out. Agathon parks the car in front of the repair shop. Looks like they've seen better days. There are huge puddles of water in the road and car wrecks strewn about. Better be quick. If I can find this place, so can Juno. You look around to see if someone is observing you, but there don't seem to be any people around. Now why would there be? Who would hang around a place like this at night? Agathon tries the front door, a repair shop, then circles around to the back. You follow him. There's a broken window in the back, protected by iron bars. Agathon grabs them and gives them a quick shake. The entire iron grill comes off. Startled, Agathon lowers it to the ground. Wait, he did that without expecting it to actually fall off? I suppose someone else has already broken in and didn't want to leave an obvious point of entry. You and Agathon climb inside through the window. It's awkward, but not difficult. Looking around, you realize the repair shop has been abandoned for some time. Looks like homeless people have been staying here in the past, but nobody's currently squatting on the premises. You try a light switch, but nothing happens. You know the drill. I'll do the ritual in the office. Make sure there are no interruptions. Agathon makes his way to the repair shop office. A slightly cleaner area than the rest of the building, he begins the ritual in the dark. I kind of want to stay close, but maybe I can sift through the papers. Bored, he starts sifting through the papers left on the office's desk. All shift records, invoices, ads, nothing from the latest decade. There's a small TV on the desk, probably from the 90s. Looking closer, you realize there's a post-it note in the middle of the TV screen. You take it. It reads, Loser, Juno. Oh, fetch. Agathon stops gesturing. They're not here. How is that possible? You show him the post-it note. He takes it and looks it over, as if suspecting it might hide a devious trick. Fetch. She has the notes, and she had to gloat. We have to go. Feels like you spent a lot of time recently hurrying after Agathon as he walks briskly in and out of buildings and into his car. He starts the car and you close the door. We'll have to go to her haven and get the notes. There's no time to waste. Despite the urgency of his words, Agathon drives as carefully as ever. It seems that only the threat of his grandmother is enough to make him drive recklessly. What do we do with her? Is she an enemy? Let's not be hasty. I'm sure we can talk this through. Agathon doesn't sound too convinced. Juno's haven is in Brooklyn, in a waterfront warehouse. Agathon drives south to Brooklyn. This is one of the advantages of being undead. Moving at night, traffic is much lighter than if you wanted to zoom around to 5 boroughs during rush hour. Parking the car, Agathon points to a light coming from otherwise dark yellow brick warehouse. That's her. Let's go in. She probably knows we're coming. This is either a trap or a diversion. Like, there's no way we're actually going to catch her off guard here. Well, here's the thing. Normally I would go around, and because I do anticipate this being a trap, but I do think she cares about Agathon, and he intends to talk, so we should just use the front door. Like, it's very much more against, it's very much pragmatic, but I want her to know we're coming, because I think if we're going to talk this out, trying to sneak in isn't the right approach. No time to get fancy. You go to the front door of the warehouse. The door has glass panes, so you see right to the inside of the warehouse. There are candles and an ornate ring of occult symbols covering the entire floor. Juno is sitting in the middle with an enamel wash basin in front of her and is peering into it. You try to listen, but it's difficult without making yourself conspicuous at this pane. We have to talk to her. Agathon tries to break down the door by ramming into it with his shoulder. It's flimsy and breaks with surprisingly little effort. Agathon, just in time. Juno, you have to stop. Hand me the notes. Oh, Agathon, you're such an idiot. This is beyond you now. I'll give you one last chance. Come with me. Forget Aisling and her power games. Join me, and you could become your own man. What? Crap. Agathon seems genuinely flabbergasted at her suggestion. That's a good question. Who's your contact, Juno? Who were you talking to? Juno smiles at you. That's a good question. I guess Aisling subterfuge does not go. It's not subterfuge. It's Strurbridge doesn't go about trumpeting the fact that her old hierarchy doesn't hold a monopoly on the Tremere power anymore. There are other forces out there, and I'll join them. Juno picks up the bulging old folder from the chair inside the ritual circle. If this dummy has any brains, he'll join me. No, and not for the clan before my family. My real family. Juno sighs. She doesn't look surprised at Agathon's refusal to come with her. I would have felt badly if I hadn't offered you the chance. Come back to the Chetri with me, Juno. Talk to Aisling. You'll see that this is not a good idea. You glance at Agathon with concern. You're no sorcerer, but the idea of fighting Juno in the middle of her ritual circle doesn't seem like a good idea. 2 words. F you. So I can speed try and steal them. Presence. Or listen to Agathon. I wonder if she will resist that. That could backfire though. I think I want to use it though. Please just give us the notes. Please, just give us the notes. We won't stop you from leaving. Juno's shoulders slump. I'm tired of the fight. I'm tired of having to bust my butt for some a-hole like Aisling. I want a new life away from all this crap. Juno weighs the folder in her hand. Maybe I should just give this to you. She walks toward you and you put your hand on the folder, but by then Juno's eyes brighten with realization. Fetch, that's even worse. You effer! You manipulated me! She slaps your face and you feel that the insides have suddenly caught fire. You open your mouth but no sound comes out. Finally, you focus on the feeling of Agathon's hand on your shoulder and you realize you lie sprawled on the floor. Are you alright? Can you speak? The pain is receding, but you feel like crap, hurting all over and barely able to walk. It'll take a lot of blood to mend from this state. Fetch. Agathon supports you as you walk back. He's smiling. You notice the folder under his arm. She got away, but I have the notes. I'm sorry you got hurt, but it was worth it. Worth it? You'd tell him a thing or two about your view of the situation, but your tongue is momentarily a lump of charcoal in your mouth. You sit in silence as Agathon drives you back to Manhattan. Traffic in the same small hours is mercifully slight. You consider your next words. What'll happen to her? What'll happen to Juno now? Is your clan really gonna let her go? Maybe. I don't really know. We have the notes, and that's what counts. Agathon sounds almost as if he wanted Juno to escape. Perhaps it was about the research for him. You reach the occult bookstore. After Agathon parks the car, you head inside. You climb to the second floor and find Aisling's Sturbridge waiting for you. She looks surprisingly casual for someone with such power. You have good news, I hope. Yes, we have the notes. Agathon hands over the folder. Aisling Sturbridge caresses the cover with obvious joy. Wonderful. You did not disappoint. What of Juno? We were not able to stop her. She escaped. Well, no matter. Agathon, you proved yourself yet again. And Protag, looks like the pyramid has a good friend in you. Pyramid? The traditional hierarchy of blood bond reaching from the top to the bottom of the pyramid. Oh, they're a pyramid scheme! Used to define the Tamara. But after the fall of Vienna, their blood has recoiled and aborted all such connections. As such, it can no longer blood bond other kindred. Without the rigid structure ordering the clan into rank and value, some warlocks find themselves competing for anything that might allow them to regain some of their former power. So that gets kind of crumbled. Accept the compliment in silence. You nod, not saying anything. Agathon looks relieved. You leave the bookstore with praise ringing in your ears. Even the test in turn, Agathon manages to smile. You have no idea what will happen with the notes, but you feel that you've reached an understanding with Agathon. Yes, ally. Perhaps that's enough in this world of backstabbing and betrayal that is yours, that you now inhabit. Man, he could be super useful. But we're gonna have to drink some blood, and I'm gonna have to not use my powers. But I think if I hadn't, I think I genuinely wouldn't have gotten the notes. Fetch, that was a tough one. Oh, wow, look at all these people. What are you? A nosy reporter, a sleazy reporter from Agathon magazine sniffing around Sophie's haven. She could use your help with the problem. Interesting. Oh, and then there's the church. Oh, there's so many people I want to talk to. Fetch. It'd be nice to get Sophie on side, but I also do think that there's something about her that's not so great. And whoever's following me is creepy, and I want to know more about them. Shoot, shoot, shoot! I don't know. But it might be a really good idea to get Sophie on the side. Okay, it's really a toss-up between these two, but I'm going to go with this reporter guy because I feel like I could really, like, if I help Sophie out, she could really, like, I think Sophie could be a much more powerful ally right now. Like, it'd be nice to have, it's nice to have my own people to count on, but I feel like if I can have Sophie on my side, because she's, like, the one vouching for me, I think it'd be good for me to help her out. And then maybe sneaky, stealthy guy behind me. The streetlights filter into the apartment in a stark white glow, as if someone were shooting a movie outside. The art pieces display a tasteful expense entirely fitting to the image you have of Sophie. Feels as if 1,000 sins have been committed on these premises, most of them under her benevolent hospitality. Sophie comes to greet you as you enter the living room, shaking her head. You understand that people judge me based on how you dress, don't you? Sophie looks at your clothes as if resigned to your sartorial imitations. I've tried to dress inconspicuously. Because of the masquerade. That's very sensible of you. I suppose I should commend you for that. Sophie walks to the window and looks out, the streetlights playing on her features. She reminds you of a queen contemplating the unfortunate limitations of her subjects. You'd think that as a vampire, at least we wouldn't have to worry about the vultures of the press. Unfortunately, when you have the power and ability, there are always parasites trying to feed on you. You used to have a journalist friend. Then you know what they're like. Sophie steps away from the window and settles down on a sofa, wine glass with red liquid in it, blood, treated as to not spoil. You've become good at noticing the scent, even from a distance. She doesn't offer you any as you cautiously sit down across from her. This awful man has been stalking my apartment with a camera. He's gone through my trash, talked to my neighbors. Please be a dear and explain to him that there's nothing for him here. This is about the masquerade. That's a big deal for us, right? Indeed. You're learning. This must happen often. How do you usually deal with it? Everyone has their own way. Sometimes the problem goes away with a bit of money or sharp words. Other times you need something more. Do you know anything about the reporter? Man, woman, young, old, anything like that? All gossip reporters look the same to me. Time for you to go. I have business to attend to. You leave the apartment, and Sophie disappears into another room. You don't have a clear idea of the game she plays with the city's mortal and immortal power structures, but she always seems to be making a move. Hence why I'd want her on my side. Outside in the street, there's a slight warm drizzle, the kind that gets you under your clothes and makes you want to take a shower when you get back to your own haven. No reporters immediately jump out at you. Stay put and keep an eye out. For a while, it feels like nothing's happening in New York night. People are walking past you on their way to whatever nightlife diversions help them forget their sordid lives. As you contemplate going back inside and telling Sophie you're not looking for a new career as a lookout, you suddenly notice the lens of a camera pointed at you across the street. Hey! You yell as you run across the street. The man you're sure you've seen somewhere before, rotund, pasty, someone who's been spending too much time in badly ventilated rooms stained with cigarette smoke. You enter an alleyway, dark dingy space between two tall buildings. Once upon a time, a place like this might have worried you, made you think of muggings and violence. Now it's clear the most dangerous thing here is you. The man you're following seems to realize this too. He holds his camera in front of him like a shield. It's a heavy object resting in his paunch. With a start, you recognize him. You remember the face. The shaded sunglasses from the picture next to a byline about in some trashy paper. The article is about a friend of yours, an artist, who was reported for to be dating a celebrity. It was true, but the celebrity didn't want to be associated with your friend and broke it off afterwards. For months, your friend cursed Daughtry's name. Hey, don't go scaring people like that. Welcome to Knuckletown. It's like, I recognize you. You're Frank Daughtry. I recognize you from the thing. You're a fake reporter, right? I'm a real reporter, dig it. A lot of scoops here in this dirty alleyway. You can't be a journalist if you're not willing to get your hands dirty. Do you live here? I'm working on a story about a local resident. Her name is Sophie Longley. Everyone knows her in high society circles. From the way you look, I'm guessing you might know her too. She's a redhead, pretty as a picture. There were a lot of pictures of her through the years. That's the thing, in fact. Look at this. Frank pulls out his phone and starts showing you pictures. Some have been downloaded from news sites, while other photos from the society pages of newspapers from past decades. Yeah, this is a problem with long life. Also, I'll show Sophie. She has different clothes, hairstyles, makeup, names, but the face remains the same. That's strange. So what do you think's going on? Beats me. That's what I'm here to find out. You must have a theory on what's happening. I have a theory or two, but before I print my theory, I need the facts to back it up. 3 words. Extreme plastic surgery. All the celebrities do it, only her doctor's better than the rest. You look critically at the photos of Frank's phone. You're looking for a doctor in an alleyway. You're thinking the world's best plastic surgeon is working out of this alley? Okay, fine. I don't know what this is about. So how would you explain it? I think it's a hoax. Have you considered the possibility these pictures are a hoax? Sure, anything could be a hoax, but I dug up those papers from the archives myself. Gotta have something usable. Threaten him with legal action. You might think he has a case, but he understands he's been caught. We know who he is. Intimidate him with violence. He's got a camera and he knows who I am. He probably could just report me to the police. So I think legal action is the best. Frank, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to give you something you can work with. Take it. Frank is clearly taken aback by the change in your tone, but he's a gossip reporter. He's used to people trying to push him. Look, I'm a reporter. You can bluster, but you can't hide the truth. Let's see. Can you afford a lawsuit? Or you've made a lot of enemies. I'll tell you one more thing about Sophie. She's good at suing people. Do you think you can afford the lawsuit? This job's all I have. Don't do this to me. Desist and I'll leave you alone. It's your choice. I'm not your enemy. Desist and there won't be any trouble. Frank is taken aback at the brutality of your tone. He has been intimidated many times before, but he also knows that sometimes the threats are real. This time, he senses you're not kidding. He's just an aging man trying to salvage a career. You win. I hope you and Sophie Langley have a happy life. Deflated and hunched over, Frank drudges away from the alley. You stare at his receding figure. It's hard not to feel sorry for him. In Sophie Langley, he took on something way too powerful for a small fish like himself. No, that was really easy. Now, I need to feed. So, churchman with existential questions, which is curious and interesting. Or sneaky man. Honestly, existential questions are fun, and I might take him up on it, but I'm actually worried about being snuck up on, so let's figure out who this is. Someone is following you around. Has been for a few nights, maybe longer. That can't be a good thing. The only question is what to do about it. Take care of it myself or tell Sophie I have a problem? She'll probably just tell me to take care of it myself. I think I'll take care of it. You venture onto the street with the goal of letting your stalker know you're aware of being followed. Time to stop this ridiculous charade. It's raining outside, and as you step into the street in front of your haven, you wonder whether that'll help you. Will you be able to see the footprints of your stalker in puddles on the ground? Not sure where to start, you slip a few bills to a homeless man and shout out to the guy who runs the local bodega. Both of them talk your ear off about strange characters hanging around, but none of the stories seem right to you. Walking the streets, you're convinced by turns that everyone you see is an enemy agent trying to get you. Then your stalkers decide to take the night off. Frustrated after a couple hours of useless searching, you cross the road without looking where you're going. A courier on a motorbike zooms toward you and has no time to brake or swerve as you suddenly step in front of him. For a split second, your eyes meet those of the man on the bike, and you both know you'll collide. You'll get hurt. Something hits you, pushing you forward. You tumble flying to the sidewalk as the courier zooms past. You feel a weight on your back, catch a glimpse of something, a person, female you think, and then she disappears. You could spend a couple more hours trying to find the woman who's been stalking you, but you're in a shriveled, undead heart. You know this to be futile. She's gone. Ooh, that sounds very interesting. Hopefully we can pick that up more later because she saved us from even getting hurt. So maybe it's our sister? It'd be best if she didn't find us, but maybe it is. Alright. Qadir al-Assami, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door to your haven. The sight comes as more than a little shocking. If he had business with you, you'd either expect to see him already inside or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is, on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. You carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening. May I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside is obviously be interpreted as permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. Haven't really had time to make this place your own yet, have you? Feels like Langley's apartment through and through. A secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on the shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. Phenomenally of spirit. Next to all this garbage poetry. We can make a bet. If she's read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. This kind of place is self-professed hermits entomb themselves in to suffer. Consider how much you have to run around these nights. You probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget your first impression he made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar flight or fight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Quadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. I actually genuinely am a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. Sure. Your mind keeps going back to the night when everything was changed forever. Waking up in hell with a body next to you, spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure of what will happen next. That endless car ride, 3 strikes, the bloodthirsty crowd, the blade. The rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executor who made sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he read the emotions from yours. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in his voice, he's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point, then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning off all of his attention to you, and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla would be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see, but that obviously remains a pipe dream. This is a community born conspirators, over-ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires to make them incompatible with the Masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I use to operate. And so I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone but constantly lied to about everyone's past and motivations, even if my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice, a voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the whodunit is far more important than whodunit or how. The whydunit is far more important than the whodunit or howdunit. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course, the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder, just like conspiracies between 2 unrelated actors to depend on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall, a boss serving their employee, a rebel serving a tyrant, just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. So blood bond, a mystically enforced relationship between a vampire and another, mortal or kindred. Drinking the blood of a vampire directly from their veins 3 times creates an intense loyalty in the drinker. resembling infatuation or obsession. The bond loses its grip with time, but is reinforced by repeated drinks from the donor vampire. That's really interesting, and could be very, very tough to work with. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? You are surrounded by unclear motives, which you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me. It sure of unnerve you as well. And what are your motivations? Finally, you manage to raise your voice. Quadir notices the effort and smiles softly. You haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you. Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to better fulfill my obligations. The last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you've been accepted into the Camarilla, what choice do I have? I understand if you don't want to see my face again, but I am one of the faces of the New York City community, and as long as you are a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, as I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. With that not menacing at all, who is he talking about? Who's threatening the community? Maybe Kaiser? This is about Kaiser. Quadir shakes his head. That leper is... The leper is bad news if you ask me, but who doesn't trade in information with him these days? No, they're not a major player. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file to see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Oh no. Emma. Fetch. That's not good. The only person who kept you hanging on through these years, not only the person you have in your corner in your never-ending fight against the world. You've kept your crap together so far. Tried not to think about her until you got everything sorted out, but seeing her face brings a lump to your throat. You look up at Quadir, expecting answers. Excuse me. To be frank, at first I thought you were a total commercial failure, someone destined to eventually disappear from the streets of New York without a trace or one soul to care. But it looks like your sister's the best guardian one could ask for. Lots of friends in high places, lots of favors to collect. The word is, she'll do anything to get you back. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent, which means your sister must be stopped. Must be stopped sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow so you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. That's not exactly what I expected. He'll arrange. What? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, takes care of unfinished business, and disappears, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean, it's contrived schemes, not unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe what neonats interact with their kind they used to hold dear. What their true natures are laid bare for everyone to see. Oh, and I forgot, so neonat. A young kindred recently embraced, but more than a fledgling. So we've upgraded. Of course he's invested in being kind to you, or he's making clear his self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring them out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well. I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the door on you. Gosh darn it, you need to think it through. That noise scares the crap out of me every time it does it. For a long time you just sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, trying to come up with a list with lies that will convince the only person who's ever seen the real you. Fetch. Alright, well, we're going to stop there. That's definitely posing a problem. But I know what we're going to do next time. We are absolutely trying to do if somebody's watching me. Gonna figure out who the heck this is. But for now, I think we're going to have to end it here. Fetch, what are we going to say to her? I don't have the means to use my powers. That would make it easy. I'm going to have to just talk my way through it. And I think that's probably the best anyway. I imagine using my powers might not actually have a lingering effect. She might, like, come around later on. Ooh, that's going to be trouble. I don't know what I would say to her. I'll have to figure it out. But for now, I guess we'll just have to sit back and relax and think things through. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. As always, it's a pleasure having you here. Thanks for joining me for Vampire the Masquerade. I hope this has been an intriguing series for you. Some of you have been following it, and I'm grateful for all of you that have been continuing. I also hope this is a game that you decide to pick up for yourself. There's obviously a lot of paths, and I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to see most of these. They told me specifically it's designed to have replayability. So most of these people are not going to be I'm not going to be able to even get to know this. Like, imagine these three, the bottom three, I might not even actually contact them if they keep introducing new people that catch my eye. But for now, I'm really happy with the choices I've made. So I don't really regret anything so far. But that's all for now. So until the next video, watching me, have to see me next. I'll see you there.